everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's the Tuber. Welcome back, or good morning. I'm still getting used to this whole, we exactly know when these are going live instead of before where, I hope to God it comes out the next morning on time, right and well, because I don't know. Also, thank you, ABC, for allowing me to have some sleep again. Because honestly, if this was going to be 9 to 10 and then 10 to 11, I'd be like, oh, I'm not getting any sleep. But hope you guys are doing well. Hope you're staying safe out there. Unlike the world of the rookie feds, where oh my god, it's this danger all around the corner. In a very interesting, we're still expanding Simone's ever-growing love life. It's like this woman is probably the most classiest, the most nicest, the most sassiest woman on the face of TV. That she has had no string of a boring romantic life. And honestly, eventually, by this point, we're gonna have to get to the ex-husband at some point, because we just keep missing on the boyfriends or the flings or the short-term relationship, but we haven't got to that ex-husband yet, which is pretty interesting. I really hope they don't save it for season 2 or anything. I know when in the rookie, they talked about Nolan, his wife didn't even show up till season 3. I believe it was season 3, his ex-wife. So now going into the feds, I mean, normally it's not you don't have to do it, but it's we constantly keep mentioning Simone's love life, which I'm yeah, but I mean, it's totally common, but to be honest with you, but anywho, this week's episode was a fun one. Being in danger is not fun. I'm just saying it was just a fun developmental episode, focusing on the characters, focusing mostly on Brendan and Simone as they focus on their love lives and just figure out maybe just how important things can be and when to take a leap or when not to take a leap. That's all I'll say right now. But I enjoyed this week's episode. I really did. Definitely kind of a nice palate cleanser after the very heavy duty episode of The Rookie last night. But anywho, with that being said, let's go for the Butcher recap and talk about this week's episode of The Rookie Feds. So we begin, I want to say we're at this, I'm pretty sure there's a cold open, so I don't know if this is the cold open. I really forgot. I apologize. It's I'm pretty sure they did something funny, because that's usually how the rookie verse starts. I don't think so. I think we begin with this congressman who's running for, I think, either re-election or for a higher position. Is at a rally. He's doing pretty well with his supporters. Of course, obviously, he got some anti-haters in the back there, but, it's mostly positive. He's about to head over to his next meeting, his next stop, and his car gets blown up and his driver gets severely injured. Cut to the intro. We head back over to the Clark house, where Cutter has an obvious man crush on this congressman. He's like, oh my god, he's so dreamy, he's so he knows exactly what to say, which I'm like, Cutter, oh god, Cutter, I love you so much, I really do. He's slowly becoming my favorite character, a repetitive character, but he's slowly becoming my favorite character of the show somehow. Simone's getting ready, obviously reminiscing on the time that when she met the congressman during a school field trip back many years ago, and obviously Cutter's like, you met the congressman? How was he? And Simone's like, nah, it was just a very professional meeting, just to say the least. We head over back to the fishbowl, where of course Brendan is still wallowing in defeat that Carter has beaten him to the punch with the lovely Antoinette. And of course he tells Simone this because Simone was very oblivious to this last week because of the whole crossover thing. And, Brendan's finally being open about it, saying, yeah, I think Carter's, moved on already from his ex-wife. He's already back in the dating world. And Simone, in the best friend manner of, actually getting some shit done, solving the problem, freaking blasting Carter out there, who's just talking to his fellow peers, and just, blabbing, hey, you dating Antoinette now? And she's like, whoa, hold on. You don't have your facts right. Just because it's my private life, so even if I was, I don't have to tell you anything, but she's only helping me because my son needs help in French, and she's obviously has a French background. And, of course, Brendan has the obvious, oh, right. And honestly, I still am Team Brendan. I still very much would be that confused person, too. Don't get me wrong, there have been moments of that in my life, and I sometimes made mistakes, sometimes I was right on the money. So Brendan, you are not in fault here. Trust me, I am a fellow believer. I'm a fellow supporter of you. Do not worry about that. I got you, my bro. But that does mean Brendan is finally open to go after Antoinette. There's nothing stopping this one. And here's the thing. Here's a little life advice from Joe. If you like someone, and obviously I would recommend getting to know them a little bit first. Don't just immediately go for just asking them, unless you don't have a clarification, because sometimes It just depends. Like, I think the best people you want to know a little bit before you ask them out, which is exactly what Brendan did. But the moment you know that, okay, this is something special, or something like that, this could be something special, I want to go for it, do it as fast as you can. Because here's the thing, you are not the only one out there who would be interested in this person. And the faster you, again, there's a difference between taking it slow and doing it right, but it's also about, like, if it's a really attractive one, which I'm like, Antoinette is a very lovely person. Let's just say that off the bat. Any man would be lucky to have her. Any person would be lucky to be with her as a partner. Brendan, you have your chance, and he went for it, and she said yes, which I'm like, yeah, my boy, you're doing it, man. You're doing it. Like, I don't know how. You're a good-looking dude already, so, like, you would have easily had no problem, like, getting with someone, but, like, you got what you want. You knew it was right, and you got it, man. You got it. I believe in you. I believe you. So now he became all wallow in the mud, and now, like, pep with a step, and, of course, Laura's like, what are you doing? And obviously she's kept out of the loop a little bit. God is back. He's back to work, back to order, right? Drink some green juice, ready for some meditation, which I'm like, Garza, no, you can't be this mellow person. We need the Garza we love, which he still is. Don't worry about it. He'll be back to normal next week. And he explains their next mission is not really a mission. They're on protective detail, all the way from the higher brass to protect the congressman after his most recent bombing scare with Simone and with Clark and Carter taking point on the main coverage of his security detail. Obviously, they're a little bit concerned, like, well, we're trying to solve the crime. Why would we be on protection detail? Garza is like, it doesn't matter. DC's noticing us naturally, so we must be doing something right for them to want us. So we're taking the job, and you're going to love it. So Carter and Simone head off to go meet the congressman at his next rally stop. Thing to note about Simone, because she has to admit this to Carter because it's certain things she said. Carter's like, you've had a previous relationship with, and she's like, yes, we did. We hooked up at least a dozen times, which I'm like, dude, okay, we got it. We that's your love life, sex life, whatever you want to call it. But they broke up because just the manner of his job did not appease to her in terms of, like, having a future relationship. So that makes sense. So, but however, she does promise Carter that she will be in her best behavior, she will be professional, and she will not fuck him. Repeat after me, Simone, you will not fuck the congressman. Oh man, I love this show. I'm starting to love this show. I really am. Just like the way I'm just cracking up right now. It just feels great. Meanwhile, everyone else, including Brendan and Laura, are on tack to figure out who could potentially harm the congressman, who's behind the bombing incident, and who could strike next. They have 4 people that are incriminating threats. I think Laura knocks off 2 of them off their list. They leave, like, basically one potential one. So then over to his apartment. He fakes his way out of opening the door at the first try. He tries escaping. He does successfully escape. And also, Brendan really got to learn on his chase ability. I mean, I know he's still a rookie. I get that, but still, you got to learn how to run better, my dude. Because he easily lets us again. And also, again, you can parkour this shit. It's only one story. You'll be fine. Your cartilage is still young. You can handle this. But they lose the guy, sadly, so he gets away. But however, when they're looking for his apartment, they find a ton of disguises. They find a ton of They find a lot of, like, makeup accessory stuff to, like, basically disguise a person. I mean, meaning that he could have been in a lot of places, but they wouldn't really know him because he'll be in disguise. Meanwhile, Simone and Carter go to meet the congressman. It's all formalities for a little bit until Simone and the congressman have a moment alone where he's like, I remember the old times, the old days. Just how feisty he used to be, which I get it. You guys fucked. You probably had a passionate fuck. I don't know why. I know it's a TV 14 show, but I'm gonna take a liberty here. With this week's episode. So I apologize for my language. My apologies. So they're going for the day-to-day. He's supposed to speak up at a rally in the hospital, so they head off over there. Everything seems to be fine for now. Even Simone making some nice suggestions about his speech, about, like, how it should go as a flow. That seems to be going well for her. And it seems like, okay, they're rekindling some more partnership aspects of things. But when Laura and Brendan call in that while they missed the guy, they did find out he wore a lot of disguises, so it would be smart for either to pull out of this event because they don't know who exactly it could be. Obviously, the congressman does not want to pull out, since, like, this is a very crucial moment in his election campaign. Pulling out now and stopping these events would definitely derail his career, so he's not allowing himself to do that. Simone gets a little mad at him because like this is exactly the same thing about when they broke up, is that he would not listen to anyone else but his own opinion. And they're having the cliche, you know, like I broke up with you or you broke up with me type of deal. So I'm like, obviously Simone's always right, so I gotta believe Simone, which spoiler she is. So, and Carter puts her back in her step, like, hey, look, remember, you gotta be professional about this. If you can't do it, you gotta back out now. Which Simone says, I'll keep myself in check. I'll keep myself in check. The four agents reunite back at the hospital. They're watching point over the thing. They see some suspicious people, but one guy already had a gun. He points it out. Again, very weirdly, like if you had a gun and you had like maybe a brief few seconds to shoot at least one or two shots, you would have aimed it for the congressman, but he aims it at the ceiling, which I'm like very suspicious. But they take that guy down. Simone takes the congressman to the secure location, but two other guys attempt to take them in. So they get taken away for a little bit. And I'm like, oh, great. It's going to be another hostage episode, everyone. Let's get settled in. But no, Simone, thankfully, to her quick thinking, as well as the congressman, like, actually following orders for once, they managed to take down the two assailants. They managed to, like, overturn the boundaries, and they get them locked up, too, which I'm like, great. They saved the day again. They bring the congressman back to the fishbowl just to, like, you know, make sure that he's also safe within the confines of the FBI HQ. I want to say, the side plots kind of derail over here and there. Also, yeah, so apparently a new piece of information, because we were just focused on this one singular storyline for a little bit, is that apparently Brendan was getting a lot of texts from his dad and his former agent about some stuff, and he was kind of curious, like, what was going on. And then apparently he found out that one of his ex-girlfriends wrote a memoir about her life, and that there was a good amount of chapters dedicated to Brendan. Kind of, you know, exposing the weaknesses of Brendan when he was an actor. And, you know, this is obviously not a good look for him, even though he's not in the career field anymore. He's still very much, you know, being affected by it, because everyone started to learn about this, even sadly Antoinette. And, you know, that definitely kind of derails things with their progress in their relationship. So yeah, it's about the nighttime, so they decide, you know what, we're going to keep the congressman in his house for the night. We'll keep him safe in there until his next rally event the next morning. So that's the plan. So Carter's going to run point in the afternoon evening slot, and Simone's going to take over the night shift. Simone tries to weasel her way out of this, which I'm like, Carter's like, yeah, sure. You can be here at 9 o'clock. Sharp. Carter, you got some wit. You got some wit to you. That's what I respect about you, man. That's what I respect about you. So the team goes home, except for Laura and Brendan, who are still looking at the bomb itself from the first attack. They're not really finding anything, because even Antoinette reveals that like the detonator they use is a very common use piece of metal or tech piece. So it isn't really something that's like unique or specific, so like anyone could have bought it. So it's like, yeah, that's not really gonna like really narrow down the field that much without any like further research. So they hand it off to the eggheads. They're about to wrap up for the night. Brendan tries to pull her aside to see, like, hey, you good? Did you didn't have to read that excerpt from the book, right? And she said, yes. It's like, that's not the problem. I don't think you were still that same person that they're writing about. It's just the reminder that, like, you know, Brendan will always be in the public limelight in a way. Like, even though he's not participating in any more projects, or he isn't an actor anymore, there's still people who are gonna like remember him from his time as an actor. Like, remember, even Lucy remembers him, and like he hasn't acted in a while. So it's like, no matter where you go, and he can always do Comic-Cons and everything, because like, yeah, that's still a thing. But yeah, so no matter what, like, that's never really gonna leave him. And no matter how hard he tried, he could probably even move to they could even move to a small town. Like, someone would recognize him eventually. So it's like, it's not something they can get away from. And she's like, I can't deal with that right now, because that's the reason why I left my country, because I didn't want to deal with my dad's constant, you know, pressuring to take over the company and having all eyes on me. I didn't want that. And now here she is potentially getting into a relationship with someone that could potentially never get out of the limelight. Like, you know, that's just a fact. So she decides to break off their date and just be friends, which obviously hurts Brendan. So we cut back over to Simone's house. She's picking out her outfit for the night. Very tight clothing, I will say that. Very tight, which I'm like, Simone, if this was like, whatever, I'm not going to use that analogy. Even Cutter comes in like, what are you doing? And so this is the second time in a row, Cutter just assumes like, oh, you have a hot date tonight. And she's like, no, I got to run point for the congressman. And she reveals to Cutter like, yeah, they had sex a lot and they were dating and it didn't work out. And Cutter's like, are you sure you're over him? That outfit does not seem you were over him. But you know what? I don't care. If you end up bringing back the congressman to your side, that's a big old win for me. So, she heads over to relieve Carter. Carter reminds her again not to get too personal, not to get personal with the congressman. Just stay at her post. She'll be back. They'll be back tomorrow morning, sharp as heck to continue service. So, just so she knows, she's like, no problem. Nothing's gonna happen. Goes to knock on his door. Only as a formality, just say, I'm here. If you need me, I'm here. And the congressman isn't helping things as well because he also wants her bad. Like it's really bad that that he's just like it's palpable. Because he also ordered one of her favorite dinners around the area. And, like, she's like, you know what? I'll stay for dinner. You're right here. Wouldn't it be better for me to be next to you? Which I'm like, it's not wrong. It's not right. So they enjoy dinner. They catch up a little bit. Everything seems to be going fine. They briefly reconcile, not reconcile, but, like, remember about their previous relationship and how that ended. But, like, how, like, he just is ready for, like, someone to take over, just take charge for once. He's ready for that. It could be Simone, and Simone's like, "No, I should just get back to the car. Just stay at my post." Which again, that is the smart move. That is the smart move. Then she comes back for the door. She kisses him, and I'm like, ugh. Simone, you are so lucky. Nothing happened. You are so because again, Carter will say this would have been, but this could have ended easily any amount of ways, but. Yeah, they sleep with each other. Everything's fine. The next morning, everything seems to be all right. No one notices anything. The congressman's assistant comes by to go by the day-to-day activities. So, like, it seems so far to everyone that nothing happened. And then a random car runs by for a gun shooting spree. Thankfully, Simone manages to save them. Tries to pull out her gun to go find the guy, but he already left. And so, obviously, everyone has to get called over. Also, I remember, like, when we come back to that morning, they're still narrowing down the pieces, but they still don't have an accurate who could it be yet. Garza calls Brandon over to his office, thinking that he's about to get chewed out. But no, Garza's going to lay some wisdom advice that when he was a rookie back many, many years ago, there was a woman that he was very interested in, very much up his alley, very much someone that he would want to be a partner with. And yeah, they did get together. They had a magical marriage, but then they got divorced. So he says, like, and this is just common in any workplace. But he's very modest and very, middle of the road, saying that, yeah, most likely than not, really think about if you want a workplace romance. Because again, if something goes wrong, it either is A, awkward as hell, or B, one of y'all gotta leave. And believe me, I've had plenty of stories, not me personally, but just seeing stuff in multiple different workplaces where, like, having a workplace romance, not everything's like Jim and Pam. That's all I'm going to say. But Garza did say, like, when they were happy, it was magical. So if Brendan has a feeling this could just be magical for the rest of their lives, then yeah, go for it. But, obviously it's too late now because Antoinette broke it off. But you never know. You never know. But that inspires Brendan that when they go to the crime scene to go investigate everything with the drive-by shooting, he gives Antoinette, at least an idea to ponder, like, like, hey, I know you really like me, which she does confirm. And then he answers as a response, like, would it be a regret if you don't at least explore where this could go? And she doesn't say no, but she doesn't say yes. She has to think about it. But, Brendan's like, you know what? Give it some time. Let's talk later. Let's talk about this later. Simone gets a little bit questioned by Laura and then eventually Carter about, like, why were you in the congressman's house? Your orders were to stay in the car. And she's like, I just went in for coffee. That's it. I worked the entire night. Like, I would need some coffee, which I'm like, that isn't fair, acceptable excuse for any agent. This is Simone we're talking about. So by the time Simone goes back to the office with Carter, he's like, you slept with him. You fucked him, didn't you? And she's like, yeah. And he has a point. Like, it's not just about the passion thing. Like, obviously, there's a reason why you have to keep things professional and, like, not go up on your personal instincts. The thing is that it could have ended horribly. What if the shooter decided to come at night and he shoot at you guys while you're in the middle of having sex? Like, your both pants are down. You ain't think this. No one is like Rick and Michonne, if anyone remembers that episode. No one is like that. Like, you are in the middle of having sex or sleeping with each other. You ain't being recognized of, like, someone about to drive by, about to shoot your asses. you know, either it could have ended wrongly. Okay, maybe you would have been dead, or even if you were alive, you still have to explain to yourself, like, why was Simone in the congressman's bedroom? Like, that is something that would be an embarrassment to the borough and could be grounds for termination. Thankfully, Simone was lucky. She got what she wanted. She saved the congressman. Nothing happened, thankfully. But Carter knows this, and, you know, he's going to hold this against her for a while. Probably not. It's a TV show. He'll probably forget about it by next week. But Simone does bring up an interesting thing. Like, yeah, why didn't they attack last night where there was less people, less witnesses, and, you know, they had to cover her daylight. Not daylight, nightlight. And she's thinking to herself, like, the only times that they attacked is when the assistant showed up. So they bring in Carter. They ask her, like, if there's anything involving the assistant that they should know about. And he mentions, like, at an earlier point that year, she sadly ran over a kid and killed him by accident. I don't remember what the exact details were. She was tried for it. She was had a court date, but the judge threw it out for, I forgot what reason it was, really. I don't know if it was like political influence or just like there was lack of evidence. I forgot what the case was, but it got thrown out, so she never got charged for it. That only left the dad, you know, obviously a grieving, mourning dad who never got justice done, to kind of be alone in his thoughts. So they just assume, okay, it could be him. So they start doing the math. They start corresponding everything. Yeah, there is a match there. So, yeah, so they head over to the site of the congressman's next rally, or at least I think one of his campaign offices, and he's there waiting in his car for obviously the assistant. So he decides to go in for just the get-go, go directly for her. Thankfully, Carter and Simone are not that far behind. They go in. The guy was about to kill her, but they managed to, like, avert the attention away and corner him into the corner office. And, you know, he's obviously broken. Obviously, this is a grieving father who's lost his son. And, like, he doesn't know what to do. Like, you know, what can be done? Like, you know, honestly, I've never been in the position because I don't have a son. I don't have a kid yet, but I will say that I would be understandable. Like, yeah, my son is gone, and what can I do? Like, even if, like, the person who did it got justice and went to the prison and everything, that doesn't bring back my son. That doesn't bring back my child. Like, my child's gone. He will forever be gone. So I can understand, like, yeah, this guy's a broken mess. Like, he just doesn't know what exactly to do. So, I think eventually, yeah. So they managed to talk him out of it. He drops the gun, and, you know, they managed to arrest him, and, like, everything's fine. The congressman returns back to his office, ready to resume his events. He does plead to Simone, like, you know, to give them one more try, you know, that even though, yes, he'll be back in D.C. more often, that he will have more reasons to visit Cali, if anything, and that they can rekindle things, like, you know, and if anything does work out well, maybe she could transfer to D.C., and, you know, so they could be closer. But she's like, nope, that's immediately the problem, is that, like, you always want me to sacrifice what I'm doing for the benefit of you. Like, I've been doing this since I was married, when I was a full-time mother. Every aspect of my life, I've always had to cater to someone else. Now I'm finally the focus. I'm finally doing something that I want to do for myself, and that's not going to stop. That's not going to be taken away from me. So they part on amicable terms, and yeah, they leave it at that. Simone heads back home. She tells her dad the bad news, like, yep, yeah, the congressman ain't going to be your son-in-law. But they do reconcile, like, yeah, he's a good man. He is a very much a outstanding citizen, and he deserves to, like, have these positions of power because he actually does care. I mean, again, it's a TV show, so like, yeah, it's one way or another, but, like, you know, still, that's what I believe. Back at the fishbowl, you know, Brenda's still hung up about the fact that Antoinette, you know, rejected him, and, like, you know, this freaking book is not going to go anyway anytime soon. So maybe it's for the best. Regardless of being the very nice, you know, wingman that he is at times, points out, like, hey, Antoinette's talking to this other guy, which I'm like, oh great, she's already moving on to the next person. But I like that. Apparently, he is not entirely the most popular person in the office, so anyone that's talking to him has the sad, unfortunate part of being stuck in that conversation for a while. So that she's giving Brendan clues to, like, bail her out of it, which it does work. It does very much work. I've had signals like that. I've had many times in my life. Well, not, you know what I mean. So Brendan pulls her out of it, and, you know, Antoinette admits, like, you know what, I do like you, and, you know, I at least want to give this a chance, see where this could go. So they put back on their date for Saturday night, and, like, yeah, Brendan is happy that, like, yeah, he could get his girl. Maybe he won't get his girl. Who knows? But that was the end of this week's episode of The Rookie Feds. Again, a fun episode, just two spells of love, you know, just one to fight for, one to debate over. It's all pretty good. It's all It's nice that Garza is like, once again, like back to normal. He's back to work. We're gonna get more Garza scenes. It was nice for Garza to take a little bit of focus, and hopefully we'll continue some of that throughout the next few weeks. Sadly, next week's episode goes back to that weird documentary style the Rookie's been doing. And it's not weird. It's just a weird presentation. But I'll talk about more about that next week. But overall here, it was all fun. Thankfully, points were made. Everything was addressed pretty clearly. And everything seems to be going all right. It doesn't seem like anything's pressing over for the Fed side of things. We're going to see how Brendan and Antoinette do as a couple, maybe. Maybe we'll see if Simone ever will catch a break with her love life again. Who knows? Who very much knows. But for right now, I love this episode of The Rookie Fed. It was very much a fun episode. Definitely a nice palate cleanser. And I can't wait for next week's episode. With that being said, I'm going to give this episode 2 thumbs up. I really enjoyed it as always. Let me know in the comments below, what did you think of this week's episode of Rookie Feds? Let's start the conversation down there. But I believe that's going to do it for me today, everyone. So if you're unaware, this has been What's Two from ActionX, reviewing every episode in the hopeful first season of the Rookie Feds. If you want to know what we're doing normally on What's the Two besides our Rookie Feds episode reviews, we're about to start up again our Walker episode reviews this Thursday night. Then also on Friday morning, our Walker Independence episode reviews. And then also next week on Tuesday nights, we do our Rookie episode reviews. But if you don't care about the Rookie Feds, your luck. We'll be back next week with another brand new episode review, so stay tuned until then. But again, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to us on YouTube.com/ActionX videos. If you have not yet, please also ring the bell, follow us on social media, like, favorite, share as always. But until we see each other again, for all you members of the Feds, thank you so much for watching again. Have a great day. Stay safe out there. Be good to each other. And as always, peace out.